With strikes by India exposing the cracks in Pakistan's defenses that were built, supplied and managed by Beijing, China is now fast-tracking the delivery of its most advanced war machine, the fifth-generation stealth fighter jet, the J-35A, straight into Pakistan's arsenal, giving defeated Pakistan military new weapons. According to reports, the first batch of J-35A fighters could touch down on Pakistani soil as soon as this year. And Islamabad has reportedly already flown its first group of fighter pilots to China to begin training on the J-35A platform. If true, the timeline by two nations is not just fast and deliberate, it is most importantly strategic. Because the J-35A is no ordinary plane. It's Beijing's second fifth-generation stealth fighter following the J-20, capable of flying 2,400 kilometers per hour. This jet can carry advanced medium-range air-to-air missiles like the PL-15 with enhanced stealth features and intelligence networking. Its design also resembles the American F-35 Lightning II jet. And there's more. China has reportedly created a dedicated export office solely focused on marketing the J-35A, with Pakistan becoming its first export customer. This arms push coincides with an ongoing diplomatic mission as well. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar is currently in Beijing, and he held talks with his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. But what was notable there was that this time, China skipped the red carpet welcome usually reserved for major dignitaries. This shift in protocol, though, has not stopped the Chinese foreign minister from affirming Beijing's firm support for Pakistan's territorial sovereignty. Further, describing the China-Pakistan relationship as ironclad. But Pakistan's ties with China may not be as ironclad as it claims. According to former U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton, China is using Pakistan merely as a proxy to increase tensions with India on its western front.
I think the risk of increased Chinese influence in Pakistan is very real and very concerning. And the evidence of these Chinese fighters, their effort at a fifth-generation fighter, is proof of what's been publicly reported, that Pakistan buys as much as 80% of its sophisticated weapon systems from China these days. That's a real strong piece of evidence of Chinese influence. And I think you might attribute some of the tension here to China, that's using Pakistan as a proxy to increase tensions with India, to put a threat in place on India's western flank.
According to the Joint Center for Warfare Studies, an Indian military think tank, China may have provided critical assistance to Pakistan during the recent standoff with India following the Pahalgam terror attack. The think tank claims that Beijing assisted Pakistan in realigning its satellite coverage over India following the terror attack on April 22nd.
China and Pakistan nexus has moved to a different level. That includes the launch of the satellites of Pakistan for information gained by Chinese, the interlinkage of satellite information exchange between the two countries, export of large number of air defense radars given to Pakistan, as well as the J-10, J-17 category of aircraft, submarines and whatnot.
The Indian government has not officially confirmed China's involvement, but the timing raises important questions. Because if these allegations prove true, they suggest China may have supplied Islamabad with not just hardware, but real-time intelligence and logistical support as well. With the J-35A jets likely heading towards Pakistan in the foreseeable future, one thing is clear: India will be closely monitoring this development, regardless of what's brewing between China and Pakistan. India's recent actions on ground and in the skies have unquestionably demonstrated that if it is provoked, the retaliation is harsh and measured. Tensions in West Asia continue to rise further. Reports emerging from the United States suggest that Israel may be gearing up for a strike on Iranian nuclear infrastructure. So while Washington continues down the diplomatic path with Tehran, Tel Aviv right now appears to be exploring a very different course. According to a CNN report, Israel has ramped up activities that resemble preparations for a military operation targeting Iran's nuclear capabilities. And these developments emerge at a time when the Trump administration is aiming to close a nuclear deal with Tehran that's over its nuclear program. The report further claims that these moves by Israel may not only affect Washington and Tehran's diplomatic channels, but might also ignite a broader regional conflict across West Asia. The report claims although Israeli leadership has not made a final call, uncertainty clouds the situation. Some U.S. officials believe internal divisions in Israel could still restrain military action against Iran, while others believe the odds of an Israeli airstrike have surged majorly in recent months. Potential Israeli strikes reportedly depend on the outcomes of the nuclear talks between Washington and Tehran. If Tel Aviv concludes that Washington's deal will not fully eliminate Iran's nuclear potential, then Israel could take matters into its own hands. American surveillance has reportedly picked up Israeli military movements and intercepted communications, fueling that belief that plans for a strike are under serious consideration in Israel. Reports note that the transfer of aerial munitions and the conclusion of a major air exercise as indicators of offensive military planning. Last month, on the directions of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Air Force conducted drills rehearsing for another round of Iranian missile attacks on Israeli air bases. The CNN report further states that all these steps by Israel might still be a bluff designed to perhaps rattle Iran into compliance without actually pulling the trigger. U.S. President Donald Trump has made it very clear that he is willing to use force if diplomacy fails. He has previously warned Tehran of military consequences should it defy U.S. efforts to reach a nuclear accord. According to the report, Israel does not have the capacity to destroy Iran's nuclear sites or nuclear program without American help. And that includes mid-air refueling and bombs that could penetrate Iranian nuclear facilities lying deep underground. Prior U.S. intelligence assessment indicated that Israel could use either military aircraft or long-range missiles to strike Iran's nuclear sites. However, these assessments concluded the strikes will have little to negligible impact. Incidentally, in April, the New York Times also reported that Israel planned to strike Iranian nuclear sites as soon as May, but that plan was thwarted by Trump, who opted in favor of negotiating a deal with Tehran. In other news, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced a $175 billion missile defense system for the U.S. It's called the Golden Dome. At a White House press conference, Trump revealed the system, led by top U.S. Space Force general, will be a cutting-edge defense against threats from China, Russia, and other enemies of America.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being here in the Oval Office, one of the great places of the world, as we make a historic announcement about the Golden Dome Missile Defense Shield. That's something we want. And Ronald Reagan wanted it many years ago, but they didn't have the technology. But it's something we're going to have. We're going to have it at the highest level.
So what is the Golden Dome? Ordered by Trump in January, it is a vast satellite-driven system designed to track and neutralize ballistic, cruise and hypersonic missiles, even before they leave enemy territory. The Trump administration has remained vague on its plans to manufacture the missile shield that takes inspiration from Israel's Iron Dome. It's not even clear yet what exactly it will look like, but it is believed to have significant differences in scope and scale to Israel's shield. While the Israeli Iron Dome is supposed to protect populated areas from short-range threats, Trump wants to build a space-based missile shield, powerful enough to protect a country 450 times larger than Israel. The next-gen Golden Dome will stop everything from ballistic missiles to hypersonic weapons. So how will it work? The basic idea is that a vast network of satellites will spot launches in real time as early as even during the missile's boost phase. Then, interceptors on land and in space will shoot them down mid-air. Meanwhile, AI command systems will coordinate the whole operation at lightning speed, that too. Simply put, with space-based interceptors and ground defense layers, the Golden Dome will attempt to shoot down missiles during their most vulnerable boost phase. That's when they are easiest to detect. The system will rely on existing tech like THAAD and Aegis, but on a much larger scale. It will plug into NORAD and the wider U.S. missile defense grid. Lockheed Martin CEO says it will integrate the best of American defense tech, even tackling future threats like AI-powered drone swarms. Who is a part of the project now? Well, Trump has said General Michael A. Gutlin will take the lead. He is the Vice Chief of Space Operations at the U.S. Space Force, and already prominent defense contractors along with technological firms, including Elon Musk's SpaceX, are already competing for the contract in a bid to build the Golden Dome shield, reportedly submitting their proposals directly to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth.
Campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors.
Well, the plan already has potential allies. Trump says Canada has expressed its interest in joining the project, although Prime Minister Mark Carney's office has not confirmed yet. Earlier this month, U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, the DIA, released a report about how missile threats to the U.S. homeland will expand in scale and sophistication through the next decade. In the DIA report, America perceives threat from ballistic, long-range cruise missiles and hypersonic missiles launched from air, ground and undersea. The idea specifically mentions countries like China and Russia that have an array of novel delivery systems and can reportedly exploit the gaps in the current U.S. ballistic missile defenses. The report mentions them as the primary threat to the homeland. It also mentions North Korea for successfully testing its ballistic missiles and Iran for having space launch vehicles. It could also use to manufacture a military viable ICBM by 2035 should Tehran decide to pursue the capability. Most of the systems mentioned here have nuclear capable variants. So that's where the Golden Dome comes in. Now, some critics have compared this to Ronald Reagan's ill-fated Star Wars program. But Trump's team insists the private sector and tech breakthroughs today can help overcome past failures. Experts also warn the Golden Dome project will trigger a global arms proliferation, and America's enemies might simply build more missiles in a bid to overwhelm the system. For now, the Golden Dome is one of the most ambitious military defense programs ever proposed. As Trump pushes for congressional support and global partnerships, all eyes will be on how this futuristic shield takes shape at a time of heightened global tensions and ballooning defense costs. Shifting focus now, last night on the show we told you that Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir has been elevated to the rank of Field Marshal, a 5-star rank not seen in Pakistan since the 1950s. And this comes despite military setbacks against India, including Operation Sindoor and airstrikes on Pakistani military bases. Setbacks that raise serious questions about Munir's leadership. Still, the Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has gone ahead, elevated Munir, rewarded him, appeased him. But the big question is, will it be enough? The last time Pakistan had a field marshal was in 1959, when Ayub Khan awarded himself the title while ruling the country. In Munir's case, it was cleared by the federal cabinet. Munir reportedly said, and I'm quoting him here, "It's not a personal honor, but a tribute to the armed forces and the people." That's what Munir said. But we know better. This move comes amid global embarrassment for Pakistan, a country widely exposed as a terror state and now facing cracks in its military credibility. So what does this title even mean? Well, it's mostly ceremonial. Critics have argued the implications of this move. But what about the civil-military balance? What about the operational command chain? And more importantly, what does it mean for the future of Pakistan's democracy? And even in Pakistan, opinions are split on all these questions. As per Pakistani news outlet Dawn, retired Lieutenant General Naeem Khalid Lodi thinks that this could pave the way for a new role, that of the Chief of Defence Staff. Under this, Munir could consolidate even more power. But another former Defence Secretary, Lieutenant General Asif Yasin Malik, disagrees. He says Field Marshal is just ceremonial. The COS remains the top operational post. Ceremonial? Maybe. But political? Absolutely. And then there's the legal ambiguity as well. Pakistan's constitution says nothing about field marshals. According to Pakistan's Article 243, the president appoints service chiefs, but not five-star generals. What's more, the 2024 Army Act amendment removed retirement age limits. Yet, this field marshal title comes from a classified rule in the Army Regulations, Rule 199A. According to military sources cited by Dawn, a general officer, whether serving or retired, may be promoted to field marshal, regardless of seniority or post. So yes, this entire move rests on a secretive clause, rarely discussed and never scrutinized. So what's the real message here? This title may not give Munir new battlefield powers, but it does give him strategic weight, more power, more influence within the military, and more clout in politics, and perhaps more control over Pakistan's democratic institutions. Pakistan Senator Mushahid Hussain Saeed described Munir as the pivot of the power structure, more powerful than ever because the civilian government is already weak and divided. But I want to ask you a question. What war did Asim Munir win to earn this title? Was this a gift from the government or an order from Munir himself? In the days leading up to the announcement, the army chief was referred to as Sipah Salar, a commander. The message was loud and clear. The decision had already been made. It's because Pakistan is not a functioning democracy. It's a stuttering oligarchy where power is shared between a fragile political class and a military that never leaves the driver's seat. In a real democracy, the Prime Minister leads. In Pakistan, the military appoints the Prime Minister. So was this promotion just another reminder of who really holds the reins in Pakistan? We've given you the facts. You decide what they mean.